come once again to discuss things.
Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentleman Fan Film Reviews. I am Simpartu. Joining me today is...
The real Manos.
Indeed, indeed. And Manos, what are we reviewing today?
We are reviewing Miss Marvel, No Normal. It's a short film.
Indeed, and this was actually really cool. It was sent to us by one of the people involved, the writer, director, producer, I believe. You just kind of reached out on Twitter and sent us a link to it. It's like, hey, new fan film here. Hope you gentlemen enjoy. I'm like, oh, sweet. I am here for it. So yeah, I love that. I one of the reasons I really like doing the show is just giving some feedback on this stuff that usually doesn't get a ton of feedback in a truly critical way, and also just it's fun to try to create or be part of the fan project community, because I don't feel there's enough interaction between them, and I feel like people could learn from one another a bit more. And so it's kind of cool to put ourselves in that world, huh, Manos?
I agree, and I didn't really think about it until you started telling me this when we started doing these videos together. That I took a look around. It's like, you're right. There's not as much interaction as you would think. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy because, like, I feel like, to watch a fan film, you got to be kind of like really into a fandom, and so the opportunity to, like, I'm gonna just watch this fan film that's part of something I have absolutely no interest in, or just a passive interest in, isn't something a lot of people seek out, but they should. So anyways, it's just cool. I like getting requests. It's a fun feeling. So anyway, Manos, I'm sure you were probably very excited about this one, given that you're a pretty big Miss Marvel fan.
I was, and yeah, when you told me the film was going to be a Miss Marvel film, I was like really excited. Like, oh really? I totally didn't expect that when you told me we were going to do like a request. So yeah, this was a lot of fun, and we've done one before, and so I was totally up to do another one, because, like, there are 80 billion Batman and Star Wars ones. Mm-hmm. There's probably, two now?
Yeah.
Miss Marvel ones?
And only how many that we can actually talk of, because they're proper length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one was, like, I enjoyed it, but it was, like, 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this one is, got a more healthy kind of time run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because... I just recently read the first volume of Miss Marvel,
yes.
just a couple weeks ago for the first time, and so it was kind of interesting to see this one, which, one of the things that interests me about these fan projects is, like, the different kinds of approaches that people take with them, and so for some reason, it's incredibly rare among comic book fan films. You see it a lot more with, like, manga and anime-inspired stuff, to, like, adapt or to try to just retell this story. A lot of, like, comic book fan films try to go for, like, just a completely original story with these characters, but, like, anime and manga stuff tends to, like, okay, it's this, but this happens.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting to see adaptations. Like, we've done a couple Sandman fan films, for example, and everyone just adapts Neil Gaiman stories. No one, like, tells original Sandman stories, which is kind of funny. And so it was kind of interesting here to watch this and be like, oh yeah, so it's got some original scenes added to it, but it is almost one for one an adaptation of the first issue of Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
And also, the last one we did kind of did the same thing. It took pieces from the first couple of issues as well, and combined it with their own material. So I think that says a lot about the material, frankly, and the work from G. Willow Wilson in this character, and how much she kind of resonates.
I absolutely agree, and like the interesting thing was this channel only has two videos, this and a behind the scenes thing, and it's not your typical behind the scenes where they talk about, oh, we got this shot here and we got this shot here. It's more just the people involved talking about why they felt the need to do this, why this little passion project of theirs sprung up, and they're all South Asian Muslims. And they're talking about, that's just South Asian American Muslims. And so they're all just talking about how when they were reading the pages of Miss Marvel, they were so blown away by it because it's like, it's us. This is our lives on screen. Like the parents, the way they're talking to the kids. I remember that. And like, so it's just kind of cool to see that perspective and realize just how much this character, this world resonates with the people who she's based on.
All it took was just a little recognition, and it just means so much. Because I can't tell you like how many times I see like depictions of these portions of like the Muslim community in media, and that's one of the most important things about the character is really humanizes them in the most perfect way. Not just with her, but with her family. And there could have been so much easier stereotyping done with them. But of course, G. Willow Wilson is herself Muslim, so I mean that's not gonna happen. She's gonna do it true to life. And I love the stuff with the family, the parents and the brother. That scene, that may be my favorite scene in this. I dig the scenes with her friends and Zoe at the Circle Q quite a bit, and just the very subtle racism they have to go through just on a daily basis. I think it's captured really well.
That's one of the things that I really liked about the book. And so I do want to talk a little bit about some of the original stuff added to this. Like, Camilla. See, words from rooted in other languages are such a bitch. Because I've always read it as Kamala, but they pronounce it more like Camilla or Kamala. So it's just trying to get that pronunciation down. Like that scene with her in the very beginning where she keeps getting woken up by the prayer clock or whatever they want to call it, is so damn funny just as an outsider. And then like I'm watching this behind the scenes thing and they're like, like every Muslim family has one of those. And I remember one time my brother getting so annoyed by it that he just ripped the batteries out of the thing. And I'm like, that's just... It's not something that I've ever had to go through, but like you can instantly imagine just how relatable it is. It feels so intrinsically human. It's just like this one particular cultural thing attached to it, and it's kind of like that universal human experience demonstrated in an infinitely unique number of ways.
Yes, and I like the way her family is. So this goes back to the comic, but it's demonstrated really well here, and that Kamala is a bit more modern and free thinking, where her brother is a little bit more strict, and her parents are kind of in the middle, frankly. And I think that's a lovely dynamic that's done. I mean, they go back and forth, in language. I just really like it. And that's the thing, like. It's not until the end of the film that I realized, oh, we didn't do any superhero stuff in this.
Yeah, and like that's
I completely forgot.
And that's the thing, you kind of almost don't need to. It is really just a teen drama kind of movie. Like this could be an episode of Degrassi or something. I'm probably dating myself a little bit there, but this
What's
really...
that, Grandpa?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, shut up! You didn't even know what that was. You're too old. It's like an episode of Seventh Heaven. For you, Mr. Old Man.
Jeez, man, that was after my time too.
Oh, okay. What, Dawson's Creek
No, I'm thinking more like the ABC after school special.
Okay. Yeah, like
Don't do drugs with
yeah. So it's like it's almost
Ellen
got like
Hunt.
this teen drama side to it that's really fun and just that like that's the thing that works for it. It's just such a human story, and then superhero stuff. Like which is really funny because they tease the superhero stuff really early on to the point where I'm like it's before the title. It's before
Yeah.
really anything else. They tease the origin for the superhero stuff. And I just was kind of sitting there wondering, like, okay, so what's this going to be? Is it going to be like, because it goes from the little tease of the origin to the title to her waking up in bed, and I'm like, are we going to just go with like, middle career Miss Marvel? Is she just going to be out doing her superhero thing now, or what's it going to be? And then it kind of just morphs into an adaptation of issue 1 and her backstory, like before she got powers. And it ends with like a whoa moment where she gets her powers.
Mhm.
Now, let me ask you this, since this is almost a straight one-to-one adaptation, did you feel it was a mistake not to adapt the the vision of Captain Marvel? Who else is it? Is it Iron Man and Captain America that show up?
Yeah, it's I believe it's Captain Marvel, and she's surrounded by, I believe if I remember correctly, it's Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah. Did you feel it was a misstep not to put at least Captain Marvel in there?
Let's see. Not really. Well, she changes into Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Just like she did in the comic. Her first instinct was to become Captain Marvel, and that is kind of like suggested with the Captain Marvel poster and the fan fiction she's writing. Captain Marvel and Yoda team up.
Wars do not make one great. The best Yoda line.
Hence to my feeling, like, why don't we see more fan films like team up characters from different franchises? This is the first time. I mean, I guess in like handwritten fan fiction you can. But yeah, that was that. I think that made the point well enough. I don't think we needed the vision.
Okay. See, I don't know, like, there's... The thing about it is Kamala's got this idea of what she should be that's really conflicting with who she is, and that's kind of like, really, that's the beginning of her journey as a character. That is the beginning of her arc. And so kind of the vision in the comic was this method of displaying, oh, you're greater than you think you are. You don't need to be like us. You need to be like you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a really, really powerful message, especially for a teenage girl. And then you make it a teenage girl with like, a cultural background that's so different than, your typical American family, nuclear family stuff. That's a very, very important message for that. And I don't know if it works as well if you cut out the vision, is the thing for me. I'm really trying to think if it works, because ultimately, yes, she transforms into Captain Marvel, and I understand that because I've read the comic. I'm trying to put myself back just a couple months ago as if I hadn't read it and think if that moment would work without knowing the full context of it from the book.
I think if you haven't, if you're not too familiar with the character, I think your first instinct would be like, this is a first part of a series, and that's a cliffhanger, and it comes off very cliffhanger like, because I don't even know if they're like planning to do more or not, or this was just their statement about the character, and they don't feel like they need to really elaborate any further. So I don't know. Like it is one of those things. Like if I wasn't a Miss Marvel fan, like would that be as meaningful to me? If I hadn't been like reading the thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, and like that's the thing for me that I'm kind of dwelling on it a little bit with is it just feels like maybe a restriction that they just couldn't overcome, which, I mean, then that's totally understandable. It definitely happens with fan films. because it seems obviously they have an actress for Miss Marvel, or for Captain Marvel, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, okay, I didn't expect him to go like the whole thing with the stretchy powers and saving Zoe and all that stuff. But obviously they have an actress for it. Could they just not afford the costume for a Captain Marvel? Could they not pull that off? Maybe that's what's going on.
That's possible.
And it's just like, that's just kind of what you're left questioning. So Camilla's journey of thinking she has to be just like the old Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, to the point where she even has to look like her, is this really weird and kind of like, just wrong-headed teenagery thing.
Yeah.
And so she quickly learns that lesson. And it's the prophets that tell her she's wrong about that, and they have her go through the experience so she can realize she's wrong about it. But then if you just do it in the film, it's just like, oh, okay, so she turned into a white girl. Like, I feel like you're losing something without the message there.
True, but I mean, this is one of those things where, like, that's not, that would be for, like, later in the story. This is, like, essentially the lead up. So it does kind of leave you in a weird place when you think of it in those terms. My hope would be if they did a second one, it would pick up in that kind of direction. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, think about it. Think about geeks out there who are, like, fans of this stuff. And, I mean, look how many of their heroes are going to be, like, white and blonde and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And then they imagine themselves as those heroes. I mean, that's literally what Wilson did with that.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. So,
so I don't know. It would be my hope that if they get the chance to do a second one, that would be the direction they'd go in. What with saving Zoe and stuff like that, and kind of figuring out, because they got a pretty good match for Carol Danvers. So, that looked pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first if, like, they were going to kind of go off in their own direction and she was just going to turn into Zoe. I didn't get, like, quite a good look at the two characters side by side to tell if they were the same actress or not.
Yeah.
Because maybe if they couldn't do Captain Marvel, maybe they were going to go off and just have her turn into Zoe because she kind of idolizes her or whatever.
I thought about that at first when I saw the hair, but when I saw the hair pull back and saw her face, it's like, oh, that's meant to be Captain Marvel. Okay. And of course, me being a fan of the character, that's what I would go to. If I wasn't familiar with these characters, I might have been confused. Okay. Maybe if we'd seen, maybe not so much in the vision, but maybe a shot of the actress as Captain Marvel, rather than the cartoon depictions of her, so we can get a sense of, like, who she is.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too. It's like it's such a weird thing to try to adapt directly, and to make a deviation like that it's kind of hard not to get a little too hung up on, because I feel like we're talking about it a bunch like it's some kind of huge problem with the thing, and it's not. It's just the thing I had the most questions about. Yeah. And I was curious about your interpretation and what ways that scene could be seen as. So let's go ahead and transition and talk about some other stuff. What do you think of the acting in this?
I love the acting. Holy crap. They dug up some really solid actors for this. Starting with Miss Marvel herself. She really had the character down. I mean, the look, not just the look, when but the mannerisms. Yeah, not just the look, but also the mannerisms, like the way she's shrugging around, like in the morning. Mm-hmm. Like, oh shit, that is Nico Leon's take on the character. The way she, like, kind of stumbles around sometime, and certain expressions, and jeez, I felt like I could see her in an MCU Miss Marvel film. I thought it was that close. I felt like I was seeing the character.
Yeah, I thought she was definitely the best character or actor in this. A lot of the other characters are on screen for a relatively short amount of time, so they don't get as much room to kind of stretch it all out. I did think one of the actors was probably a bit more noticeably weaker than the others, and that was the one that played her male friend. I forget
Bruno?
Bruno, yeah, thank you. I forgot his name. I thought that guy's acting was a little flat compared to some of the other stuff. Like when he's following her in the party, he's like, Kamala, 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 Kamala. I'm like, okay, maybe it's overwritten, but you're also maybe overselling it a little bit too much. And there were just like a couple moments like that where it felt a little flatter to me. I also felt like the Miles Morales cameo was like,
you caught that too. It's like, oh yay!
Apparently the other dude he's talking to is another character who I don't even know. I noticed someone like named him in the comments. I'm like, sure. Not the biggest Marvel guy. I thought the Miles Morales cameo was actually kind of funny because just the way that they shot it and played it, it's like it's meant to be like oh, it's that guy, but I kind of got like, are they about to hit on each other? Because it's like, hey, I'm Miles. Hey, Miles, you want to go into that closet and make out?
I gotta say, I was really, when I saw Miles, like when someone said, hey, Miles, like, oh shit, they put Miles in here. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because, Miles and, you really haven't gotten to that point, but, she and Miles have co-founded the Champions together. And them and the most recent Nova have kind of had this interesting like friendship among the three of them, where they've kind of like latched onto each other because they're all three like legacy characters hanging around with the Avengers, and they have a lot of pressure put on them, and they've kind of like sought each other out for strength. And they were my favorite part of like the Mark Waid year run of the Avengers, and then they went and formed Champions together, and they've kind of remained that kind of friendship. I don't remember what the other character was. In the comments they mention him.
Yeah, I saw someone like call him out in the comments, like, oh man, that's this guy.
Ganth. Yeah. But
Ganke.
I can never pronounce that.
I don't know. Who is that guy? I'm just gonna do some Googling here, live on recording.
It's always cool to hear people.
The most professional.
Type. To listen to them type.
Yeah. Oh, it's Spider-Man's guy in the chair.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Gank Lee, Earth 1610.
Who in the comics is Miles' friend.
Okay.
Although in the movies he's also renamed. They kind of took his character and called him Ned Leeds, which is a completely different character in the comics. I know. So it's like, I don't know, it works. Okay. But so yeah, that's kind of cool. I forgot he was in there. So yeah, I mean, good lord. I mean, I really liked a lot of the acting in here. Like, I thought Zoe was kind of like the mean girl bully character without like overdoing it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, her subtle racist bullshit is probably one of my favorite like portrayals, or not portrayals. Probably one of my favorite things in the book. It's just so subtle, and it's like, yep, that's just things people of color deal with every day.
Yeah.
And those like backhanded compliments, weird shit. And like the actress just plays it so well. She's so like smiley, scummy. She's got like that that Stepford wife quality,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. It's like, oh, that looks so good on you. You're not being like forced to wear it, right? Like that's just that's so funny. Just how like perfectly that captures that feeling.
Yeah, that fake concern, which always is so lovely.
Oh god, some just really smells like curry. Excuse me. Like, geez, fuck you, lady.
And also, if we're still going to talk about acting for just another more minute, I also enjoyed the family a lot. Just another good depiction of them. I like the brother a lot, and I like the character quite a bit in the books because he could easily be a stereotypical like stuck-up religious character, and he's not. Like he can be annoying about it, but he's like still really likable. Wilson always found that real nice comfort zone of like being kind of annoying with religion, and then like being there when you need him, and really caring, and a lot of it comes from a place of caring. And I in the short bits we see with him in here, I mean he's like the annoying older brother in that depiction. I think he does it very well.
I haven't gotten too much into his character in the comics, but yeah, I agree. He's got like this really interesting fine line kind of thing where it's just like, it's hard not to talk about it without talking about like other media, but like the typical way that the devout Muslim is portrayed in media is like, oh, there's something wrong with them, or they're like really bigoted, or they're like really hateful, and they're going to recruit you for ISIS or whatever. And the brother character is portrayed as a devout Muslim, but he's portrayed in the way of like, like when you got that friend or neighbor who's like really Christian and it's kind of annoying. Yeah, like that. Like that.
He's kind of like Flanders.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
He's a little young Flanders.
It's like it's a very normal thing for like someone to be religious to the point that it's kind of annoying and uncomfortable, but they're not going to go do something crazy just because you have associations with like negative associations doubled up by media with people of that religion. It's like a very particular like statement with that character that just feels so naturally perfect, And
that's such an easy stereotype to do. I mean, not just simply with Muslims, but any religious person. Christian, Catholic, so on and so forth. I think he's a really unique, interesting character in the comic because they have found a really nice fine line. You've only read the first couple trades, but he eventually starts dating this woman, and they get married. And they have some really there's some really nice family interaction scenes in regarding those.
Cool.
He develops as the series goes on too. So
nice.
Yeah.
Before we get out of acting, I want to talk about my favorite character portrayal in here, because it really hit a place for me, and that was the guy at the convenience store. Bye. Make good decisions so you don't end up working here for the rest of your life. He trailed off with it, and he's so done with that job. That was so funny.
Yeah, he has a story arc all in of himself.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was the funniest shit. Like, you could put that in any movie ever and it would work. And I just love how, again, this is such a just very relatable, very, down to earth kind of, it's capes but no capes kind of thing. And that's really fun. So I really enjoyed that. Also, just, real brief, I want to talk about that. I thought this was shot really well. It's nothing like too crazy or too expensive. I will say, I'm just clicking through it a little bit here. They're using like some stock footage of New York, but you can tell it's clearly shot out on the West Coast, or I'm like 90% sure it was. So I'd say maybe you didn't need that, but you do what you gotta do.
I'm totally forgiving of fan films using stock footage. It really does help.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with them using stock footage. I would have maybe suggested, you're just use stock footage of either the city you're in or a city, in that same area, because you can just kind of you know, New York's got tight streets kind of thing, and LA doesn't. It's just a very particular kind of feel that creates some incongruity. Again, it's nothing that I'm like hold against. It's just a thing I noticed. I'm like, you don't really need it. Yeah, I know it's Marvel and everyone's in New York and Marvel, but you're not, so you don't have to try to be. It's okay.
Well, technically, she lives in Jersey City.
That's true. Am I showing myself as too much of a Midwesterner that I really have no concept of the distance between Jersey City and New York?
Don't feel bad. I don't know that either. I just know they're not immediately in the same area.
Well, like, from what I hear, there's like a train, and I'm like, really?
Well, New York sometimes confounds me too, because like, you know, there's Brooklyn, Queens, and like, you know, that people talk about them like they're separate cities, for God's sakes. So yeah, it's like, okay, and then Jersey City, which I think is across the river.
Yeah, and then like, where the fuck's Boston at exactly? Just I get so confused.
So yeah, you know, I don't know if they were able, how easy it would be to find stock footage of that place versus, you know, LA, which probably might mirror Jersey City probably a little bit more. It depends on, you know, the footage you find.
Yeah, so that was the only thing, like, you know, as far as how it's shot wise, that I really picked up on. I think it's all shot pretty competently. I like the Zack Snyder-y thing of, hey, let's bring this actual panel to life, and they did it like 2-3 times. They brought a cover to life. They brought the very first panel of the series to life. I thought that was pretty cool. They did it all pretty directly, and I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, and without overdoing it too.
Yeah, they didn't slow it down. It's just like infidel meat.
Get it? Yeah, it all feels very natural because, you know, they're adapting into another medium, so, you know, they didn't overdo it.
All right. Minos, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about with this one?
No, actually, I think I feel kind of exhausted.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've kind of, you know, hit all the major points about it.
Okay, I just had one other thing I wanted to bring up, which is, I guess this is in the MCU because of the post-credits scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. You know, that had me thinking, you know, of a couple things. Like, there's talk. I know Kevin Feige has hinted that Kamala is going to make an appearance in the MCU at some point. They haven't revealed their plans for the next few phases, but it's looking like, you know, she may be involved. So she's lived through that, or not lived through it, or, you know, however you want to see. And also, I was even thinking further, like in the comics, like, you know, the snap happened, in the 90s with Infinity Gauntlet?
No.
And,
in the comics. Okay, sorry.
In the comics, yeah, the snap happened in the comics too.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Oh yeah, it's based on Infinity Gauntlet, and, you know, Thanos did it for a different reason, but he did it the same. I don't think people like vanished in ash; they just disappeared. And that happened in like the 90s. So the way comic book time works, I guess she and Bruno were, I don't know, preteens. So yeah, they have lived through it. Sometimes I think about that when I go back and think about old stories before certain characters were created. It's like, you know, they did exist in that universe now. So it's like, you know, it'd be interesting to see, you know, her reactions to that. Like, you know how she would have reacted, and, you know, what happened. Like, you know, did she vanish? Did, like, people she loved vanish? You know, how did that have any effect on her? That's one of the weird things about this kind of medium.
Yeah.
It's when you add new characters and, crazy crap happened in the past. Like, how did they react to that? I don't know. They didn't exist.
Yeah.
But they did exist.
My thing that I've always said is I really want to take a history class in in any version of the Marvel Universe, just to like have history classes on Captain America's raid on the Red Skull. You know, God. That sounds great. And then, you know, like, there's gonna be that one intellectual who's like, Captain America, for all his showboating, really didn't do all that much to stop Hitler. The Red Skull wasn't as big a threat as he makes it out to be. Just some shit like that would be great. Okay,
oh,
let's...
man, you know that happens on Facebook every day in the Marvel Universe.
Oh yeah, Red Skull wasn't that bad when you really look at... The Hydra was not Nazis. They just came from the Nazis. It's completely different. Open your mind. God. Okay.
Just because you disagree with me means I'm a member of Hydra?
I guess I'm gonna just say Hail Hydra since you keep saying I'm a Hydra member. That'll show you. Alright, anyway. Let's go ahead and go on to ratings for this one. Manos, what will you rate this fan film?
I really loved it. The acting is wonderful. The characterization is right there. It really does feel like the characters adapted in an official capacity. It really does do my heart good to see like live action Kamala like running around. I really dug it to the point where I even forgot about the superhero stuff that's not in there. I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 infidel meats.
Nice infidel meat. Okay, I'm gonna give it a pretty high score as well. I always worry that I come off complaining too much, but I just really try to be as constructively critical as possible. So I'm going to give this 4.5 out of 5 bitchy white girls. Alrighty. Okay, so Manos, next week we'll be going with another request, or kind of sort of request, and that will be Robin, the Bird, and the Brain short film. By High Top Films. Also pretty new. Just no, my bad. It's over a year old. It's March 2018. Okay. I was gonna say, just from March. No, it's over a year old. Okay, so that'll be next week on Geeky Gentlemen. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Until then, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the Realist.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.